This is Richard Mwenja Exclusive, your only point of call on matters political and governance analysis here in Kenya and across the region. And today we continue unpacking conversations that are shaping Kenya's political and governance landscape. And who better to bring such conversations home than the celebrated think tank, former Minister Ruto, Arab Kirwa.
Yes, Ndugu.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, I thank God, as always, because it is a blessing to wake up in the morning and get to the road. Many people don't wake up. Yeah.
Even at a time when you're getting so much backlash from men from the Rift that you're going hard on their son, President Ruto, you're going hard on Oscar Sudi. Tone down.
Yeah, some of them, actually, I'm not hard on them. I think they deserve the kind of lambasting that they are given by the public, and I'm part of public space. And therefore, any comments I make, it's my opinion. I may be wrong, I may be right, but still my opinion is my opinion.
You've mentioned about people making their opinion, and in that same breath, Raila Odinga has made his opinion about the Adani group. Even after Ketrako signed a 95.7 billion worth of deal, of course, to help us with our power transmission and other issues in the energy sector, we still saw Raila Odinga go ahead and really praise Adani Group for the mega projects they've done in Mumbai, in Gujarat, and other places in this globe. So what do you make of this endorsement from Raila Odinga on the Adani Group?
Well, to say the least, I don't think Raila endorsed on the basis of technicalities. Some companies do well, and therefore their reputation will follow them. And those who don't do well, like Adani, their negative deeds will also follow them. Why didn't Raila tell us what Adani did in Australia, in Bangladesh, and in Sri Lanka? And the fact that they have a case in court today trying to claim $500 million from some of the countries that they did poor work, but they are suing for compensation. That's one aspect of things. The second issue, where Adani has failed, he has made, and in fact, I will be very specific about Bangladesh. The prime minister of that country had to be airlifted to India because the situation became untenable. Why? The tariffs for electricity went up over almost 100% because of the poor work done by Adani and the fact that they were levying higher rates than was conceivable for the people of that country. The third issue, which is also important, I remember during our tenure in Kibaki 1, there was what we call independent power producers who were supplementing to the national grid the electricity that could not be supplied by normal processes, geothermal or hydro, during certain periods that require slightly more power to the gradient than is the case. And those are the people who made electricity very expensive in Kenya.
IPPs.
Yes. Remember, here in Kenya, the cost of power, which is actually the cost of doing business, is almost double the cost of the same power in our neighboring countries, whether it is Uganda, Ethiopia, Tanzania, even Somalia, a country that is in trouble. And the main reason is that there has been issues of misgovernance, and we are paying for corruption, and also we are paying for some of those independent power producers, something that you should not be encouraging. The basic question is, if there was trust by the government in the minds of the people, if there was trust in terms of issues of governance, any Kenyan can invest in Ketrako or anything like airport or even in Chief. But we are doing it because we don't trust the government of the day about their governance structures. We don't trust them in terms of being transparent. And they are confirming to do that. Now, the third issue is that Raila has not been in any government in the opposition for 5 years, since he came to politics in 1992, elective politics.
Oftentimes he has justified saying he always comes into the picture to save the nation from collapse.
He's not saving the nation, he's coming just to partake in the stolen goods.
Partaking in the loot?
Yeah, he's partaking in the loot, and therefore...
Under the guise of improving democracy?
Well,
and the rule of law?
that's the issue. Democracy is a relative term. People choose to call it democracy when they are benefiting. They call it rigging when they are not benefiting.
Really?
So 1992, he moves in as Fort Kenya Member of Parliament for Lang'ata. Within 2.5 years, they have disagreed with the late Wamalwa. He goes and starts a new party, fully sponsored by KANU, to start an outfit that was going to separate Wamalwa from Raila, and therefore make it easy for the opposition to lose in the next election. After 97 elections, he came in under cooperation, and by the end of the period, he was already Secretary General of KANU and Minister for Energy. It is from there that now they ran away when Kasarani became Kisirani. They ran away, we joined forces, and we formed with the 2002 elections. As if that was not enough, 2.5 years down the road, he was migrating. And after 2007 elections, he came back to government under Nusumkate. Uhuru regime, he came in under what we are calling handshake. Now he has come in under what they call broad-based government. All this is the life of a nomad who does not believe in the basic tenets of democracy. He believes in what is in it for him.
More of a merchant, political merchant?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's called a political merchant or a political hawker. Yeah, I will hop from one corner to the other. And you see, the most interesting thing, Raila and William Ruto, they have the same character in terms of where they cannot win, they force a win. They either bribe, force a win, or unleash thugs to fight people who have a contrary opinion to theirs.
So for them, it has to start and end with them?
Yes, that's the whole issue. And if they disagree, they may also part ways badly.
So how true is the argument that when you get Raila Odinga on your side, you also get Luo Nyanza MPs for free? Because we're now seeing the biggest defenders of government being people like Peter Kaluma, who a few months ago were the biggest critics of majority of government policies. Is that the conversation about Raila Odinga? When he moves, also others follow him blindly or maybe out of their own wisdom?
Well, it's because he will give them free tickets in the next general election. And that is what did him in the last general election, giving a lot of free tickets to sitting members of parliament, and now dampening the spirit of voters. That's why in the Luo Nyanza region, 600,000 of them or more did not go to vote because the deal had already been sealed, because they did not see any competition. And they took it for granted that Raila was going to win because he was with the system. So he may be planning to give them another set of free tickets. And that's why they have to listen to him. They have almost literally to worship him and make strong positions, even on a very weak case like that of Rigathi Gachagua, impeachment. Yeah.
It makes sense. And this far, now that Rigathi Gachagua is still battling on matters to do with his impeachment, we have seen Moses Kirima, that is MP for Imenti Central, come forward and saying they went to vote for impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua with the belief that Kindiki will be the replacement to Gachagua. But as it stands, they feel someone else is going to replace DP Gachagua. They floated names like Irungu Kangata, Mwangi Kiunjuri, and you name it. Would you say that the concern of Moses Kirima could somewhat be informed by early regrets?
Well, possibly they did not meet the requirements. Perhaps he had been promised 500,000 and they gave him possibly less than that. You remember after Nyahururu meeting, endorsing Kindiki, some people were saying Kiunjuri gave them 200,000 instead of the money that they had been promised. So it could be one of those issues. But of course it is an eye-opener. We now know what is going behind the scenes. And perhaps Rigathi Gachagua impeachment may not even take off. There are still 3 hurdles. 1 is the Senate. 2 is the High Court. 3 is the impossibility through IBC, because there is no chairman of IBC who will pick the name of the next nominee by William Ruto. Then take it to Parliament, for Parliament to assess the suitability of that particular candidate. Because IBC ought to tell us, is this person eligible for the position he has been nominated for, or does he not meet the threshold? Then Parliament is going to assess suitability of the person to run for the office of the deputy president or to be nominated for the office of... So if there is no IBC, then that is a dead issue. It is dead on arrival, or what they say is dead and done ab initio. Yeah.
Sticking to matters to do with the woes facing DP Rigathi Gachagua, and let's try to assess the genesis of his misfortunes. Would you say that the call for one man, one vote, one shilling could have been the author of Rigathi's misfortunes and ultimately now this impeachment motion against him?
I think by the time he was making that pronouncement, not all was well, because I've heard him say that they only worked for 1 year. The last 1 year, or the second year, has not been as good as the first year. So possibly when he realized these things are moving, now he had to appeal to the court of public opinion. And he has successfully done a lot of good work. Today, he's not the Rigathi that I knew 2 years ago. He's now become a monster in the making. And usually we say you fatten your bull and it will bring you down. So William Ruto fattened Gachagua, and the same Gachagua will bring him down. Definitely the next election, it will be interesting what role Gachagua is going to play.
But also from the side of President Ruto, he seems to be fattening other bulls to fight Rigathi Gachagua, whether he'll still remain in government or be ousted out of office. Look, the names being floated right now, we are seeing Irungu Kang'ata, Ndindi Nyoro, Mwangi Kiunjuri, and even Moses Musalia Mudavadi, and also some have hinted at Raila Odinga. Don't you think that Ruto will lose nothing by disposing Rigathi Gachagua?
No, you cannot ignore 47% of your constituency and expect to win the next election, knowing that there are other political players that will be haggling for the same position. William Ruto got 47% of his votes from the Mount Kenya region. So ignoring 47 and you expect you are going to recoup from Western and Nyanza is, to say the least, a foolhardy.
So then again, when it comes to these potential successors to Rigathi Gachagua that have been endorsed by President allies, and let's narrow down to Musalia Mudavadi, Ndindi Nyoro, and Raila Odinga. In that pool, whom do you think is viable enough in the event that Gachagua doesn't get off this impeachment thing?
Well, there are reasons for each of the persons. In my opinion, that is the slate of candidates. I would want to tell Kang'ata not to make that mistake of leaving the position of governor and going for a position that may not be tenable after 3 years. I have 3 people, and as you've said, Ndindi Nyoro fits the bill. One, he has been very sober with the goings on, and the only one who may make people listen to him in central Kenya. But it will be an uphill task for him. Musalia Mudavadi, because already the Western region is the appetite, they are whetting the appetite now. And therefore it means if you don't allow it to go in that particular direction, you are likely to lose that block again to somebody else. The most stable candidate for me is for William Ruto to have the courage to appoint Raila Odinga is deputy president. It will be stabilizing force because he will have the numbers in the Senate and he will have the numbers in the National Assembly. As to whether they want to run as a pair in 2027, that's a different political arrangement. That is my take.
That's your take?
Yep.
All right, and just barely a day ago, we saw Charity Ngilu call for the impeachment of both President Ruto and Deputy Rigathi Gachagua. And these are calls that resonates among the minds of many, saying, let them all go home. From where you sit as your footnote, Mheshimiwa Kirwa, what is your take on that? Do you also support the let's impeach both call?
For me, I would rather we do something neat, what I like referring to as political hygiene. Let us allow William Ruto with his kangs to pervade the political atmosphere for the next 3 years, and we prepare ourselves to give them a ticket back home.
In 2027?
In 2027, yeah.
And then, should you send him home, whom are you betting on as Kipruto Arap Kirwa?
No, it's going to be a team. Remember in the year 2002, we did consultation for 2.5 years. And eventually, the Kibaki Tosha rallying call came in, having prepared the ground, I would want to say it must be a collection of individuals who merit the position of the deputy or the president, who shall be engaged for the next 2.5 years, and the lineup will form itself. Presidential candidate, deputy president, prime minister designate, and 2 deputies. And we have our show. Yeah.
Second last, let me rope in the sentiments of Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi and get one to have your view about it. And this is what he had to say a while ago. I urge all Kenyans to understand why over 280 MPs voted to impeach the DP, Rigathi Gachagua. Soon they will understand that impeaching the DP is for the best interest of the country. All those who voted yes are patriots who do not want the country to plunge into turmoil. Kenya basks in a strong socio-cultural fabric that no one can put us under. Do you read an iota of wisdom from the concerns of Oscar Sudi?
Well, I don't know who wrote for him, because Sudi does not have that level of English.
Wait, are you taking concern with his mastery of English?
No, I'm worried because I know that's not his language. And why is he hiding? What is it? What is so secret about it? If Gachagua has done anything that is treasonable, tell us and take him to court.
Is it that you don't credit him with deep thinking?
I don't credit him with anything. He's just masquerading as a make-believe individual, hanging around the presidency and behaving as if he's the owner of apparatus of power.
So he's not a kingmaker when it comes to Kalenjin politics?
Well, he can make himself a king within the village. But these are not people worth actually listening. And at times, you allow me give them a lot of credit by answering them. Oscar Sudi should not actually be sparring with people at my level. These are just individuals who, out of hook and crook, call themselves in the position of leadership. And by buying plastic shares and giving to charges every election, people vote for him. There's nothing. Everything is plastic.
Besides their credentials?
Which credentials? Which school did he go? From primary school to secondary. These things they were making here in South Sea. That he went and did diploma in management. And he went in as a procurement, doing procurement.
Is he as a statement of fact, Mheshimiwa?
Yes.
Can you challenge him on that?
I don't have to challenge him. It is in public domain. Please, at times you invite some individuals. It's really, forget about it.
All right.
Let's talk about other things.
Okay.
Talking about the weather.
Let's talk about other things,
yes.
But also in the interest of time, how about we close in on Kalonzo Musyoka? He seems to be a man at crossroads and seemingly is grasping with the limbo at hand. For him, going forth, in the architecture of his next political strategy, especially that to do with clinching power in 2027, what should make, the integral element in this new formation that maybe he might come with in the near future?
There are many critical factors. Primary among them is to know this is a partnership of equals. And that is how the late President Mwai Kibaki accepted that Charity Ngilu, the late Amalwa and himself was partnership of equals. And when the team came from LDP, led by Raila Odinga, the late George Saitoti, Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Joseph Kamodo, William Ole Ntimama, Chirao Mwakwere, we partnered and we agreed this is a team of equals, as in NAK and those from LDP. And that's how we processed the positions until we realized Kibaki was foremost among them. I would want the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka to believe in that kind of architecture. There are many Kenyans today who are willing to work with him.
There
are many Kenyans who are willing to work with him, many other leaders. But as they come in, let them feel comfortable that anybody can occupy any position. We should not go into this thing believing that I'm the ultimate, others follow. And if we are able to process that using the normal formation of groups from all the way from storming all the way to performing, we will going to get an answer. Yeah.
How about we close the conversation on a positive note? And we have seen EPRA, of course, part of its usual reviews, periodic reviews. We are seeing now petrol prices reducing by 8.18 cents, diesel by 3 shillings 54 cents, kerosene by 6 shillings 93 cents. I mean, the conversation in town is that President Ruto has delivered what he promised, giving relief to the people, especially when it comes to the energy sector. And there are calls that he's going to be that economic messiah that so much, that he profiled himself as at the beginning of his campaigns. Would you say that now the fruits of what he pledged are now being seen?
Well, at the risk of sounding cynical, it's too late, too little.
Too late, too little?
Or too little, too late. Because he has not gone back to where President Uhuru Kenyatta left the prices of fuel and the cost of the dollar. Let him go back up to there and stabilize the country. Because you see, it's not about fuel alone that you check economic parameters. What is the cost of money today in terms of in the money market? What is the cost of doing business? What is the cost of electricity? What is the cost of fuel compared to when Uhuru left this country? So all those parameters conspire either to make it possible or to deprive us of the benefits. So it is something that we are yet to write home. But I can see their blockers are running all over. How about if next month the dollar will misbehave and the prices will go up? Where will they be? Or they will take cover?
He has said shift is going to be the game changer when it comes to affordable healthcare in this country. And now when it comes to the energy sector, Adani has got the deal.
Oh no, you're provoking me, Richard. I told you Adani made it impossible in Sri Lanka for people to pay electricity. And that is how the Prime Minister was removed.
So what is shift in your lenses?
Shift is Shah, and Shah is another Muindi.
But maybe a better Muindi, a good Samaritan?
Look at the physique of that fellow. He's a liar. Adani. For those who have done industrial psychology, you can see a liar from the beginning. He's a liar.
Can our president engage with liars?
How many lies has he himself committed? 1,000 of them. Ask Gen Zs. I'm not in that grouping of Gen Zs.
But maybe his communication unit hasn't clearly portrayed his achievements.
Okay, let them improve. But the clips that we have, it does not need a communication person to do interpretation. Yeah. He lies when we know that it's not true. The only thing that is not a lie is his name.
And his credentials also.
I don't know about credentials. I was not in the same school with him. Yeah. He came to Kapsabet when I had left. I never saw him in Mango.
But he got a doctorate degree from the same university you went to.
Oh yeah, which is also okay.
And you are yet to earn yours.
Well.
So there's no point of envy.
I'm not envying him. I'm not envying him. Yeah, you know, in fact we say kuzaa watoto, kutairiwa, kufa ama kusoma is a matter of time. All of us will die. All of us tutazaa watoto. Yeah, but we don't compete by the number of children you have had in 2024. I may have more after 2 years.
So chance happens to them all.
Yeah, and all children are the same.
Well, there you have it. At that point, we take the conversation to a wrap, discussing a plethora of issues in the world of politics and governance, and giving much precedence to the main subject for this particular period, that is the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. How about we now cross over to this insightful segment, one where we offer a debt of gratitude to individuals who've made tremendous impact in this country and continent. That is Heroes Corner with Honorable Kipruto Arab Kirwa. The other day it was Leopold Sedar Senghor from Senegal.
Yeah,
and today
is Josiah Mwangi Kariuki.
Wait.
Yes, from Nyandarua North.
JM Kariuki?
JM Kariuki, the one you know.
The one I've had since I was born.
We were born after he was killed.
Of course.
Yeah.
Assassinated, I guess.
Assassinated. I don't know, killing or assassinating, or I don't know. But he didn't commit suicide, that I know.
JM Kariuki.
JM Kariuki is our hero of the day.
Did you interact with him at some point?
No, I did not. I was still in primary.
Oh.
But it was my turning point. I decided I would join politics. 1975, when I was in primary school.
So JM was that fire in your belly?
Yes, because there were a number of things that did not happen right. A week before he was killed, There was a bomb blast in one of the buses in Nairobi and 27 people were killed. And it was suspected JM had said he was traveling to Mombasa and had gotten a ticket. And below where he was to sit, and a bomb exploded, killing a number of people. I've told you 27. I think that's the figure I remember, because by then I was still struggling to read good English. Then, as if that was not enough, his vehicle was parked around Hilton for a number of days, and people were wondering, where's JM? Only to realize that he met some individuals there, and he was taken away, and the rest nobody knew. Others said he had gone to Zambia for a business trip because he was a good friend to one of the ministers in Zambia. Others say he was missing, and the late President Daniel Arap Moi, as a vice president, came to make a statement in Parliament detailing how JM had left the country, only for him to apologize later. Well, it took an old Maasai man called somebody Oletunda to discover his body around Ngong. And it was known, and that body was brought to City Mortuary. And the three wives, one afternoon, went to Parliament, raised a lot of alarm. Members of Parliament came out, led by Martin Shikuku, Charles Wanyoike Rubia, and several others. They went to City Mortuary. They wanted to block the door. The late Charles Rubia shut the door open and they moved in. They checked. And their wife said, this is James' body. Why? They discovered there was a certain mark, scar on his thigh and the hairstyle behind. He was not bald like me. He had some good hairstyle. So that was the story of JM. Having started as a private secretary to Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, became the director of National Youth Service, became assistant minister for tourism and wildlife, and when he died, he was assistant minister.
But why do you think he was taken down?
Well, because people thought he was being too competitive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you see, by that time, Mzee Kenyatta was advanced in age. He was over 80-something, and ailing. And they expected anything could happen. And people might have been getting rid of the competition. Just like in Mboya in 1969, 5th of July, he was gunned down by somebody who later on disowned the whole process. So JM Kariuki went down because of popularity. He was very generous. When Kenyatta used to donate 2,000 shillings, he used to donate 10,000 shillings.
That generous to the extreme?
He was very generous because by then, the salary of a teacher was 910 shillings per one teacher, which means he was donating salary of 10 teachers or 11 teachers.
So should
and he had a clarion call. We don't want Kenya of 10 millionaires and 10 million beggars. By then our population was 10 million.
So you somewhat believe that if JM was still around, we would have maybe become that Singapore of Africa?
Well, it could have been better, but we hope the exigencies of an office would not have derailed him from meeting his vision. Remember the hope that William Ruto gave us in the run-up to 2022 elections. All those hopes have been dashed by his lies. It's unfortunate. But I just pray, we never had a chance to test him because he died as assistant minister.
So, and when was he born, died?
Born in 1929, March. And he died March 1975.
Oh.
I remember I was in primary, and my teacher, Samuel Chege, I was one of the early arrivals. Akaniambia umeua JM. I still remember him for that. He turned, I felt as if I knew him.
Okay.
That's how I felt. I felt, and I came to like Kibaki because he's the only cabinet minister who went to his funeral. The rest ran away. Then later on I discovered Kibaki went to Mangu. That's how I chose Mangu High School to be my school of choice.
For you, you've been learning from the best.
I've been learning from the best. Because remember Tom Mboya was in Mangu. Cardinal Otunga was in Mangu. George Saitoti was in Mangu. Michuki was in Mangu. Ndingi Mwananzeki was in Mangu. Mwai Kibaki was in Mangu. And yours truly, Kipruto Arap Kirwa, was also in Mangu. The rest of them are taking their children there because they could not afford to go directly.
But even then there was alliance which has churned out people like Kimani Ichung'wah,
Then
the firebrands.
With negative reputation. You saw the other day was just like Brugenge.
It's happening all over the ground
Yeah.
for legislators.
Yeah, well, legislators who did not go to Mang.
There you have it.
Yeah.
We cannot take it further than that because it's gonna, blow out of proportion. But you've had it. Thank you so much for slating in your insights on today's program.
Asante.
We appreciate any time you make time for this production and also for the greater good of the nation. We just hope that you'll be watching over your shoulders because you so raw, quite combative, but also armed with so much truth.
Yeah, but you see, these are facts. Yeah, you need to record them.
We shall archive them.
Yeah, archive
for posterity
them.
also.
Yeah, and they are on Shogilen. Yeah.
When you'll be long gone.
Yeah.
Until then, do enjoy the rest of your viewing. I'm Richard Mwenja. Get me on X and TikTok at Mwenja Richard.